June 11th, Town Board meeting. I'll be calling this meeting to order at 7:01. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does anybody need minutes or agenda? You want to do me a favor, run off a few copies? Sure. I'll work off another one. You have to go to the, get paper. Huh? All right. Yeah. All right. Oh, actually, I gotta borrow. Can I borrow your minutes for a second? All right, hope everybody had a fairly dry weekend. Sunday was nice, but the last 7 days have been pretty rainy. So I'm going to open the floor up for privileges of floor, but as usual, I would like to take a few minutes to read the privileges of floor, the rules. At every regularly scheduled town board meeting, the public shall have the right to address the town board during the portion of the meeting referred to as privileges of the floor, which will take place after the reports of the town departments and the supervisor. Members of the public wishing to speak during the privileges of the floor may sign a sheet before the commencement of the town board meeting indicating his or her name, address, and proposed topic. Signing the sheet will dictate the order in which the persons are recognized to speak and will assure the town clerk has a correct spelling of their name and addresses for the minutes. Members of the public are to restrict their comments to the items of town business and are to observe proper decorum while addressing the town board. Persons who become unruly, use inappropriate language, who persist in speaking on items not related to town business may be ruled out of order. Although there is no official time constraint, speakers may address one or more items in their comments. They should be considerate of others and try to limit their remarks to no more than 5 minutes so that all interested members of the public will have the opportunity to be heard. So at this point, I will open the floor up for privileges of the floor. Is there a sign-in sheet? Well, Norm's making copies. Mary Sue?
Mary Sue Reed, 962 Darrow Road. As chair of the Princetown Civic Historical Committee, I want to report that the town-wide garage sale held on Saturday, June 1st was popular and successful. Approximately 30 families signed up to participate, and we received much positive feedback. I would like to thank all the committee members for helping to make the sale a success and highlight the work that Gloria Schaefer did on making signs, and Linda Parker-Kusick for collecting the applications and providing the information that John Parker used to develop the Google Maps. Linda also interviewed about a dozen of the garage sale participants for feedback. We now have a good strategic plan to follow for future garage sales. We did have problems receiving some residents' applications in a timely manner at Town Hall. I was aware of one being mailed on the due date of May 15th, as the resident called me to let me know her application and payment were going to be late. I was informed of another late application when a resident called me, asking why his garage sale wasn't included in the list he saw on the town's website. I asked the town clerk on Wednesday, May 29th, if she had any more mail for the committee, as we were missing 2 checks. She replied no, but emailed me the following day that there was mail. I obtained the 2 applications and checks on Friday morning, noting that the envelopes were both postmarked May 15th, and neither was date stamped as to when received by the town clerk. It took these letters 2 weeks to arrive in the committee's mailbox, denying one resident the opportunity to participate in the garage sale. The town board passed a mail handling procedure in September of 2012, and the town clerk is not following this simple system of handling and distributing the town's mail in an accurate and timely manner. Speaking as a town resident, I find this behavior unacceptable. I have worked in private industry most of my adult life, and every company I worked for had mail handling procedures that were strictly followed. It's time that the town's mail handling procedure is followed so that officials, staff, and board and committee members receive correspondence, invoices, and payments in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Sue. Norm is still making copies, so I'll ask Mr. Miller to.
I can do that.
Sure. if you want. Is it okay to go out of order a little bit? I don't want to tie up everybody's time. So before we move into business, let's go with the old business. So, Bob, I know, here's Nick's report. Oh, sorry.
All right, due to the fact that Nick can't be here tonight due to death in his family, he's at a funeral. I talked with him and he wanted me to go over his part of the meeting tonight. So this is from Nick Sr., our highway superintendent. On Overlook, there was rubble that was put on the side of the road. It was a temporary fix, and the county is, I guess, planning on repairing it permanently. Willow Run needs ditch work. Quackenbush, okay, the county did work near Giffords Church Road. Rooter Drive, the dirt has been cleaned off. It's much better now. Kelly Station, that's still a big problem, you know, where the roads were washed out and all, so that's going to be some time before the county gets to all of that. I guess there's an email that's going to Joe Ryan asking the county to take care of the stones off the shoulders, you know, because we've met with the residents up there, and a number of them have been complaining. In fact, we've met with them twice here in the last couple of weeks, and Nick was there, and myself, and Mike. And the stones that are along the sides of the road that kind of hold the road together, supposedly they thought the stones are getting brushed off into the lawns and is causing a problem for their mowing. So that's what we're talking about, the rubble alongside the road. We're looking to see about having something done there. Then for Quackenbush Road, there was a call that came in. They're wanting some ditches put back in across the street from this Pam DeLap's house, and so there's really not enough drainage there the way it is now, and all because of the storms and everything that we've been dealing with. There's a lot of work to be done, so that's pretty much it. But we are working with the county, and we have met with Joe Ryan, and we've given them what needs to be done as far as the work, and I don't know if we've received anything yet for our 284 agreements as far as money goes, but that's in the works, and so we're waiting on that. So that's where we are with the highway department.
Thanks, Bob. And I'll just, before we let Mr. Miller go back to the privileges of the floor. So Overlook, yeah, you're right. So I was out there with Nick. The culvert, which is actually our culvert, which surprised me. actually got overran, bubbled the road up. We're gonna try to partner up with Joe Ryan and ask him to repair it as part of the whole Kelly Station Road, because technically it's actually a town road, and it's gonna be pretty expensive to fix. So we're gonna hopefully work with Mr. Ryan, and he'll be able to fix it. It's about 10 feet in, but it was heaved pretty well. Willow Run, we did fix the ditch. Residents' culvert pipe was blocked. We got the jets in this morning, so they blew out the Willow Run, but apparently the pipe is gone. Quackenbush, there's been a couple issues up there, but not to go over this whole thing again, but I'll be working with Nick next week. We're gonna probably go around, and if any citizens actually have any issues with their roads, give me a call. We're hoping maybe next weekend that Nick and I will spend a day driving around all the town, town roads, county roads, everything inside of Princetown, logging what the issues is, taking pictures, measurements, etc., and then formally turning that back into Joe Ryan for proposals to repair all the work. Like I say, Kelly Station's in pretty rough shape. It took a pretty good beating. Actually, it took a very big beating. I don't think they've reached the criteria for emergency declaration. Because the first storm that came through was like 3.5, 4, almost 4 inches in 13 hours, and it was comparable to a 200-year storm. So these storms that are historically pretty big are becoming more and more often, and the damage is going to get more severe and more severe. So, going back to, it's pretty important that we continue to focus on savings, because it's these events that are going to make us reach into the pocket to fix it. So, anyway, last item on the highway, again, Bob and Lou or whoever you guys want to take a ride with me and Nick. Again, it'll probably be Saturday, weather depending, and we're just going to hit all the town. Again, if anybody in town needs or feels there's something wrong with their driveway or the road, give me a shout, and we'll make it a point to drive by. Okay. Back to privileges of the floor, Mr. Miller. You know the rules.
Norm Miller, Skyline Drive. Princetown is such a nice town, but it's extremely interesting that a handful of people who controlled the town for many, many years are extremely upset that others dare to ask them to be accountable. Last month, a family stood here and verbally attacked me and others in this administration, but failed to address concerns. While these 3 people were verbally attacking us, all I could think of was this is how bullies act when they don't get their way. A handful of people seem to constantly spread lies and false rumors about people in this administration. In a way, it is amusing that the ringleader at one time gave me inside information to use. Unfortunately, I discovered that while this person was eager to feed people information about the opposition, the information was not always correct. 2 women stood here previously and quoted incorrect information that was included to an anonymous hate letter mailed to residents some time ago. Everything in this anonymous hate newsletter was untrue. Apparently, one of these people obtained the Princetown mailing list from the election board. I wouldn't be surprised if we learned they also used taxpayer resources to print it. I found it interesting that an anonymous letter was sent to Mr. Blessing to get him riled up. I suspect that one of the people who sent the anonymous hate newsletter probably sent the anonymous letter to him. This seems to be their style. When you don't have facts, just accuse people of lying or hateful things that never happened and send out anonymous letters. If you say it often enough, people begin to believe it. I suspect that if you follow the money, it becomes clear that something may not be right. In the case of the Ruder Drive paving scandal, they don't want to discuss this because from the very start, it was done improperly. The law requires highway contracts to be done in writing to prevent issues like this illegal transaction. The contract was never presented to the town board for approval. Nearly 6 months The company sent invoices and called the town clerk's office looking for payment. The very last week of the year, the former supervisor called an emergency board meeting to approve the invoice. So the question is, did anyone in the town clerk's office, or the supervisor, or the highway superintendent know this work was done and needed to be paid prior to the election? I'm sure that none of these officials want the public to know the truth. I got involved in the town because I felt the town was not properly managed. As a result, I've had people lie about me, had my home vandalized, and recently a dead rat was placed in my driveway in front of my car. These bullies need to take anger management. The anonymous hate newsletter stated it was sent by PAC, the Princetown Action Committee. They should change their name to PBS, the Princetown Bully Squad.
Thank you. That's all I have for privileges of the floor. Any additional? All right, we will close privileges of the floor at 7:18. Back to the old business. So we did highway. Water department, actually, Commissioner Mead is actually fixing a break at the Pangburn Bridge right now. So that's pretty much as late as break as he can be.
I stopped there on the way in. He said that one of the valves broke, and it was where it crosses the creek, and that's what the problem is, and they should have it repaired.
Yeah,
He's been there most of the day.
yeah, he called me, which is tough today because it probably picked up another inch of rain. So I'm sure it's pumping as fast as it's
They're
coming.
not working on a bridge today because of the rain, so he's had it, no interference,
Okay.
repairing it.
All right, so that's it with Water Department code enforcement. Actually, Dan got pulled out and he sent an email, so Dan is out of town on a family emergency for a week or so, so I'm sure he'll catch up in July. Justice, anything, Michelle? Dog Control Officer. Stars Schenectady County.
Just, it's springtime, the dogs are out. They are barking, and I'm getting a few complaints here and there about the barking. Just be mindful of your dog. Maybe you don't hear it anymore, but your neighbors do. Just a reminder to everyone that New York State does require that dogs over the age of 4 months, with very, very few exemptions, are required to be licensed in the town or the city where they are harbored or where they live. And we know that not only in Princetown, but in Schenectady County and everywhere else, that there are not enough dogs licensed that represent the actual population of dogs in that town or city. So we are, of course, doing the enumeration, which started June 1st. Well, it was started July 1st. Letters to the residents regarding the enumeration. The majority have gone out. The last bunch will be going out tomorrow. And we are starting to get replies back from folks and also getting a few phone calls. And just to clarify a couple of things for some people, if you have a dog and your dog is licensed, you don't need to do anything other than please just return the letter telling us who you are, what the license number is, and there's no additional fee. There's no enumeration fee on top of what you've already paid. This enumeration fee is a one-time fee for those who don't license their dogs before July 1st. If you have a dog that is not licensed, please use the application that's inside the letter. I'll return that to the town clerk or myself before the end of June to avoid the $25 enumeration fee. After June 30th, if I find that there are dogs that aren't licensed, they will require to be licensed, plus an additional $25 throughout the end of the year. And if you have no dogs, just kindly return the form to us and tell us that you have no dogs at your residence. That would be very, very helpful. There are a couple of folks who have called me with questions about foster dogs that they're housing in their home, whether it's for a month or 6 months or however long. I haven't got a final answer on that, and we're going to require some documentation from whatever rescue or pound or Humane Society or these folks are working for or providing this service for before we can make that determination whether or not it can be exempt. Otherwise, we just default to, yes, you'll need to license your dog. That's pretty much it for enumeration. Just one last thing, that this June 15th on Saturday is the Schenectady County Free Rabies Clinic, free to Schenectady County residents, although donations are appreciated. From 10 to 11 are cats and ferrets, and they need to be in cages. Dogs will be from 11 to 12, and every dog needs to be on a leash. And bring, if you have it, bring your current rabies certificate. Otherwise, with the rabies certificate, you can get a 3-year rabies. Otherwise, if you don't have one, you'll just get a 1-year rabies. But
What's the date?
June 15th, Central Park Pavilion. And it will be here in October. There will be another one between now and then. Anything?
No, thank you very much. Just so overall, as far as the enumeration goes, I mean, I know you're still, doing it in phases, so just overall, what's the feedback, man? What's your progress? I mean, is it pretty good feedback?
There have been some interesting questions, which I really didn't expect. The one especially about the fosters. Do I foster my dog? I haven't got a really clear answer from Ag and Markets yet, but I've had 2 questions within the last week about that, so I need to look at each of those organizations independently and see what kind of paperwork they have or documentation, and see how it relates to the Ag and Markets law, if we can exempt them or not. But I had one who asked me about working dogs. I have a working farm. I didn't know my dogs had to be licensed because they're working dogs. Well, yeah, unless they're ward dogs or search dogs or police dogs, yeah, you gotta license your dog. So, but, I mean, they're very valuable questions and just things we don't think about.
So you want to keep on those ag and market people, right?
Yes, we do. And Mike helped out a little bit today too, so.
That's why you did that. And do we want to ask the webmaster if they want to put up maybe an alert on the banner just saying, hey,
There's a link on the main page. It could be bigger, because unless you're looking for it, you're never going to find it. And a banner would be helpful, something running on the bottom, at least for the next few weeks.
if you wanted, just my suggestion, if you have, a banner phrase that you want to put on there, if you can send it to Tim and copy me, that'd be cool.
Okay.
Anything with Darla?
Carly, did you say that even if your dog is licensed, you have to notify you?
Just fill out the form and return it. Just fill out with the license information. It's a time saver for me.
And time equals money.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Thank you, Ms. Darla.
You're welcome.
Oh, can I ask one question?
No.
This rabies thing? My dog just got a 3-year booster.
Okay. Your dog just got a 3-year booster? How old is your dog?
15 months old.
Oh,
I guess it's good for 3 years
okay.
because, I'm new to this process. So it's like, what the county is doing here, should I wait 3 years before?
Oh, yes. You don't
Yeah.
want to over-vaccinate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're good for a while. As
Okay.
long as the dog's licensed, we're good.
What's
Let's give
that?
him 3 years. As long as the dog is licensed.
Yeah, he's licensed. And I'm gonna send you the,
Yeah.
Charge him for being late.
Mhm.
Double time.
thank you, Darrell.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Darla. Town planner Gino is not feeling well today, so we'll go over him. Town clerk, Carol, anything to give us an update on?
No.
This resolution 1362 is vacant land. I think you sent an email out on it, but to tell you the truth, I didn't actually read the whole thing. Did we file or send it in with the?
Well, you can look at the email, because I had some questions for you.
Okay, can you answer the questions or? Are they complicated, or you could go back
No,
and read
but
it?
why don't you read it and then you can send the information to me?
All right. We'll start with the town council. Mr. Myers, it looks like you're,
Okay, well, we have already covered a lot of the road work, and we've talked with Joe Ryan, and that's in the works again. Like I said, we're gonna get, the list and get that to him as far as getting the 284 agreements. We also did talk to him when we met with him, about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, in regards to Parker's Corners project, and they have no funding right now for a project like that. And what he did say is for us to contact our legislators and see if they can dig up some quote unquote, some, I don't know, hidden money or whatever. I don't forget the terminology that he used, but I guess the legislatures can find money if they, they hunt for it. So that's what he recommended for us to do at this time. And as far as the speed limits and stuff, they're county roads, and they've, when they do assessments and all, they've kind of felt that the speed limits that were there now were okay and suffice. So we haven't been too successful in getting them changed, but in time, hopefully they'll work with us when we can work on the funding. So that's where we're at on that right now, so I don't have much else to.
yeah, thanks, Bob. Just to follow up a little bit with Bob on that, so one of the challenges is, and I'm not sure I agree with it or I agree with it, it's, it's kind of the way of the world, but a lot of things are based on metrics. How many tickets, how many accidents, that's how they judge the safety of a road. And there hasn't been that many accidents, if any, or tickets on Parker's Corners. Now, I'm not saying that's, not trying to lessen the impact or the danger of the road, but, when you talk to Joe Ryan and to the county, that's the first question they're asking is like, well, how many incidents have you had? How many letters have you had? What's the feedback? So the good news, is that Councilman Esposito was speaking with Angelo Santa Barbara, who's our legislator, so we're hoping to set up a meeting within a week to 10 days, something like that with Angelo. So hopefully we can talk to Angelo and our new representative from Dwaynesburg. Those two funds you were talking about it's the intermodal,
That's it.
the intermodal, and underneath the intermodal is the multimodal.
Yeah.
And supposedly there's money in those two funds that we need to ask Angelo if he can go in there and try to find some funding. And from there, we can try to, see what we can do to, again, just make that straightaway on Parker's Corner a little bit of a curve to slow the people down. So anyway, thank you, Bob. Any questions for Bob?
I think they ought to add a third category. We got intermodal, multimodal, how about quasi-modal?
Quasi-modal. Well, I wrote down pork. The pork fund. But anyway, thank you, Bob. Councilman Esposito.
All right, got down here about the fire alarms in the building. We all know we've had a problem with the fire alarm system that we talked about putting in an alarm system, burglar alarm system, and arming it with a water bug. After conversation with Mike, we still don't know if the sheriff department is coming to town, and after Councilman Jazinski came up with a good idea about having an alarm company come in and check out the fire alarm system. And I think, Joe, you can expand on it, what you want to expand on it?
Well, yeah, I talked with Wolf Security, and they would come in and test every transducer, whether it's smoke or heat, and see how it talks with the alarm system. And that would cost $275 to do a complete troubleshoot of the whole system. And that would be a great starting point for making a decision what we do. for the final solution.
I think that Mike is probably right about this, that we certainly don't want to invest a lot of money at this time if we don't know that the sheriff's department is coming or not, because if they are, it would certainly have an impact on what we would have to spend for alarm systems, since they would be in and out of here on a 24/7 basis. So that's where we stand with the fire alarm system, and I think that's a good starting point, Joe, and thank you for looking into that. Trooper Barracks, Mike has set up a meeting for Thursday. Hopefully I can attend if I'm not on the road, but to talk about the problems over with the state police barracks. They're still looking at the project for their room for their processing room, not the processing room, what is it, Mike?
No, their office space.
Their office space, yeah, their
Oh, I could. Air conditioner's working, though.
that's another thing I'm gonna bring up in a few minutes about the air conditioning there. But, so hopefully we can get something resolved about that. They did have a leak in there. It wasn't the trays that we put in, which were working fine. Apparently in the processing room, one of the condensers up in the attic tipped. It caused a leak in the processing room. And I went up on Sunday and corrected the problem, tipped it back up. I had one of the state police troopers was kind enough to come up and give me a hand up in the attic, and we corrected the problem. They're looking to, now we have to repair the ceiling again. They're looking at, they want the fencing in the front replaced that the wind knocked down, or the snow plows knocked down. I forgot what it was. They said the snow plow when they plowed during the winter knocked it down. They've got problems in the driveway. They want that repaired. So these are things that Mike, and hopefully I can attend if I'm not, but I'm sure he'll take care of it, discuss exactly what we're gonna do with it. I know they're looking for an awful lot of updates on it, and I don't know how much money we have to do it. They've got a problem in the garage again. This is something that should be corrected, and I think that's one of the most important things right now, is the water in the garage is flooded. It's been an ongoing problem probably since the building was built, and they've asked me to pump it out, but pumping it out is not gonna do it. Joe and I were over there with a contractor here to look at it, as opposed to digging it out and redoing the drain system in it. I don't know what should actually be done, but that's another thing that should be discussed this week when we meet with them. I guess that's it with the, and back over here with the water washed away this driveway in the back. And it's, I think that is what we should be doing, is now that we have the contractor here, is maybe getting a load of gravel, stone in, and letting him spread it. It would be minimal price just to get a load of stone in, and I'm sure he would probably do that since he's got his excavator here and his thing, and I don't think it would be much of a charge for him to do that, and I think that'd be the wisest way to go, since it's, I don't know if anybody's looked out here, is that there is a lot of ruts right there right now, and it should be corrected. Might as well get into the rest of the thing so we don't have to do this, bore you at the end. Mike asked me to look into maybe buying gas at a discounted rate from the truck stop. I'm looking into that. You can buy gas probably at $2.90 a gallon, no taxes on it, because that's what the price of gas is. It's an 8% discount. You don't pay any federal and state taxes. I talked with Joe Ryan about it. He said it would be kind of hard for them to do it. They would have to pay the federal excise tax every quarter and then apply to get it back. You know, the towns and the county and the states, they all want municipalities all to work together, but when it comes down to it, nobody seems to want to work together. So he says if we would draft a letter to him, if we want to do this, to as the town board is requesting to buy gas from him, maybe for our water commissioner at a discounted rate. It would be since municipalities don't pay any federal and state taxes, and it'd be $2.90 a gallon, that's what he says it runs to, so it would be a substantial savings if we want to do it, if we want to draft a letter or not. I did talk to the pilot down here. We can file for it, and it would just come in as soon as we buy the gas, and they give you send you a statement every month, and whatever the gas is, that's what it is. It's an 8%, it comes out to their computer, so that would be substantial savings. If we want to do that, if the town wants to do that, we can certainly do that. And I think one step we should do, maybe we can buy, he says he didn't know if the law has changed from the state where you don't have to pay the federal excise tax up front and every quarter get it back. He said he would have to check, and the only way he can check and ask his attorney is if the town board drafted a letter and sent it to him. And then he could look into it and give us an answer. So I think that would be the first step, rather than buying it from, if we wanted to go that route, rather than buying it from, it's not a lot of gas we purchase, it's mainly for the water commissioner and for the lawnmowers and what have you, but it's still a substantial savings, I would think. But that's that. Driveway in the back. As we noticed, the air conditioning just in this room is not working. I'd like to know if you want us to go out, if you want me to go out and get a price to get it repaired. I don't know exactly, I haven't had a chance to look at it, other than the fact that I know that the one on that end of the facility is working and the one on this end is working. The only one that's not working is the one in the courtroom.
Where all the hot air is?
Where all the hot air is right now. So, and it is warm in here. So if you want me to go out and repair it, I'll go out and see what's wrong with it. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to look at it. I turned it on and it doesn't come on. There's a safety switch out there that could have been tripped. I haven't had a chance to go out and look at it, and I'll try that, but I think we should get it repaired.
I'd appreciate if you could do at least a cursory walkthrough, and if you don't see anything jumping out at you right away, a trip breaker or something like that, a fuse.
I checked the computer inside over here that regulates it. I set it down, and it's just not coming in, so I don't know exactly what's wrong with it. And there is a safety switch out there that could have been tripped. I can take a look at it, but I think it should be repaired. So if you want, I'll go out and take a look at it. I don't know what the rest of the board feels, or if you feel it's not necessary. I don't know.
No, we need to look at it.
Okay, I'll take care of it. As Mike said, I met with the Assemblyman in Santa Barbara about today. I was down in the state capitol to talk with him about some other issues that non-related to Princetown, but I did bring up about the truck stop down here and the problems we have with parking and the traffic down here. And I suggested to him that there was money given in the highway bill this year for parking to be upgraded on the interstates, and he's going to be in contact with Congressman Tonko's office to see exactly how much money might be available. And he said he'd be willing to come down here and meet with the town board to discuss some of these issues with the parking here and see what we can do about alleviating some of the traffic congestion down here, especially since McLean's is looking at coming in. So he was very receptive about that, and I was happy about that. So the solar update, everybody sees that we've put the concrete in for the solar arrays, and it's proceeding very slowly, only because of the weather is sort of held them back now for digging and what have you, but there was a problem, and I'll let Joe address that since he handled it and I wasn't there, up on Gifford Church Road, and if you wanted to...
Yeah, I've got notes here.
Do you want to say it now, or do you want to talk about it?
Well, since we're on solar.
Well, Lou, how about you finish up, and then
Okay.
we'll just transition over to Joe.
Okay, and as far as that, we're proceeding very slow and it's going along, so that's the update on that. Sheriff's Department, we don't know yet. if they're coming or not. They haven't made up their mind. Nothing has gotten back to us yet. I talked with our county legislator, and he's in favor of it. That was his recommendation. That's all that has been said so far, and we don't know where it's going from here. So hopefully, in my opinion, I think in Mike's and everybody else's, this would be the ideal spot for us, so we're just waiting to see. And the gazebo update, I guess Joe can talk about that too, so.
Any questions for Lou?
No, that's good.
All right.
Thank you.
Good job, Lou. Mr. J. Councilman Drzezinski, sorry. He's so informal.
They used to call me Dr. J, you know, like you
They have a good
was
sense of humor, I
remember?
guess. Yeah, I remember Dr.
Way
J.
back, way back.
Philadelphia.
Anyway, well, my pet project here, the general code, was kind of put on a back burner this past week or two, because I've been working quite intensively with New York Light Energy. We had issues here at Town Hall. The original configuration of arrays, we're gonna have one behind the other. But because of the location of the power lines feeding this building, telephone lines, gas lines, and water lines, they said, no, we have to change it. So what they did is and I think it's better. The way it is now, they made one big, long array. And we checked with all the setbacks on all of our zoning and everything, and we are completely consistent within, and I have to say that New York Light Energy has been very, very responsible in, being respectful of our laws and our town hall and everything. The Giffords Church Pump House is another example of their being respectful of the neighbors who have voiced concern about seeing these big arrays next to their houses. And they have bent over backwards, I think, to put in a mock, they staked out the area and they put in stakes that were 12 feet high to give a rough idea of how much people would see from their neighboring windows. And so now we've decided we're moving ahead with the project, and the neighbors are happy that New York Light Energy has put in writing that they will provide screening because they want happy neighbors. Then as the gazebo that we have on order, I went to talk with the guy who was selling it to us and asked him about a base, because Lou looked into putting a concrete slab under it and the cost would be exorbitant. So I asked Glenn Greco, who's selling us this new gazebo. He said, oh, the best base to put down is #2 crushed stone. He said, dig out about 4 inches and put in the #2 crushed stone. The water will drain through it, and it's perfect. So I talked with Dave Lincoln, who's the guy that has the equipment here. He's for Jersen Construction Company, who works for New York Light Energy to put all of the ballasts for the arrays in. And they have their equipment here. I told them what we needed, a 13-foot by 13-foot by 4 inches deep, graded out level and then filled with stone. And he said, well, they can use the stone that they have that they put down so that the concrete trucks would sink into the mud. And so it may end up, and I'm waiting right now for a quote from his boss. And he said he's certain that it's just going to be time and materials. So.
Well, if they're using a stone that we've already paid for,
Right.
it'd be just time.
It would be just time, point taken. But also, and I probably should have said that first, but I worked with Paul Denninger there was questions about the ownership of that little plot, that circle where the gazebo sat. And the county owns it or the town owns it. You know, nobody really seemed to know. Well, the town owns it. And we have the deed now. And I've informed the civic committee. There was concern raised by some members of the civic committee that said, hey, if we don't own that property, we shouldn't put a gazebo on it. But now that we do, and the consensus in the civic committee, I think, was 8-1, that if we do own it, put the gazebo back where it was. So with that recommendation, plus this new mindset about putting a base in that'll be effective, I think we're very close to moving forward with that. So within the next couple of days, I expect to know how much Jerzen is going to cost, charge us, and that's it.
Good deal. Good job. Just to touch base on the gazebo though, we still have to file. I need receipts, and I need the quotes. I gotta file with Mimer.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You've got the two.
You gave them to me? Or did you give them to Joe?
Gave them to you, gave them at the town board meeting, I'll get them out again, I've got them on the computer.
All right, that'd be good. And we'll just have to go back through the vouchers, find out how much the dumpster costs.
About 3 quotes.
All right, good.
Do I need to get 2 more quotes from the one that Jerzen is going to give us? Mike? I mean, they got their equipment here.
Right, and off the top of my head, I don't remember what your limits are, because if it's gonna be, you know, $100, I don't think your procurement policy requires additional bids.
So I just checked the procurement policy.
Right.
I should have known that.
All right,
Thanks, Mike.
thank you, Joe. All right, so my updates. First, I want to say thanks to Mary Sue and the Civic Committee. Great job with the townwide garage sale. Hopefully the lessons learned will be bigger and better next year. I do want to take a second. I know it's a little bit dry here, but again, I think it's critically important, in my opinion, that the town board explain, you know, what they're doing, why they're doing it, what the logic is behind all these decisions. I guess, you know, I think we're a small enough town that we can communicate pretty openly and take some time to walk through all our, you know, what's going on, what we're working on, you know, what the logic is behind, you know, behind a lot of our resolutions. Again, I just think it's, you know, we have the size, we have the time, it's, you know, I just think it's a good idea. And again, I want to touch base on, and we did touch about it at the state of the town, but again, this past 2 weeks, you know, we've looked at, even though they probably weren't declared emergency areas, you know, there's been some damage that the town at some point is going to have to, you know, reach into the budgets to pay for, you know, some of this repairs. So again, I urge the staff and especially the town board to continue to focus on opportunities to improve efficiencies, again, through skill sets, technologies, however, to reduce costs, you know, strategic investments, because these kind of events will just keep going, and if we don't have some kind of a savings to lean on, like anybody in our private household, if you have some kind of savings account that you can go to, you end up taking loans out, and in the town's in a town area like that, you can take a loan out and it ends up as a tax, and then once that cycle starts, you're, you know, once you have a tax, you never get rid of it. But anyway, the water bonds, as I said during the state of the town, the water bonds have been purchased, 9 out of 10. The approximate savings, $318,000 over 3 years, or over the term of the loans. I don't have the exact numbers, but I do have the handouts. just to go back to the state of the town, those charts will be up, and any supporting documentation will be up on the website if it's not already, so I'll double check that, but, so pretty good news story there. We close, I think, 19th or 20th? The 19th, so, and the difference between when they purchased the bonds, you know, we saved about 8.2% on the terms, over the terms, is it has to go to the Office of State Controller for approval and review. So everything's on the up and up, the state controller takes a look at it, make sure it's good. Why this is important to the people on the north end as much as the south end, well, probably a little more important to the people on the south end since they're paying for it, but we obviously in the north end are actually putting our name on the bill. When we sign, the board signs, we sign across the board. The town is funding that project. So reducing the overall, you know, interest on it is just good news for everybody. And as it turns out, the town got an A+ rating with a stable outlook from Standard & Poor, which is pretty darn good for a town our size for never having a rating before. So good news to, you know, to the staff and to the team here for all their effort on that. Touch base on the comprehensive plan that's been handed to the board here. We're going to submit it to the county for review, and there's a couple of resolutions here. We're going to have an open meeting and declare ourselves the lead agency as seeker. Planters for the road, I still didn't get a chance to get on and get some pictures and get some pricing. Again, the planters, we're hoping to do is put some planters across the top of the road here, so we don't have another incident during the winter with a truck running over the gazebo. So, we put a couple planters out there, put some flowers in it, looks nice, but then a tractor trailer can't get through. So that's our thought. Anyway, we're gonna do some pricing on that, see where it goes. Norman Skill, it's actually on the agenda tonight. We're gonna go ahead with preparing the formal bids. This might work out well because we can't get in the creek till the water subsides, and the way the rain's been going, it's gonna be a little while before the water subsides. So, but we're moving forward with that. Did we hear anything about the contract with the county? All right, I gotta follow up with the county. The problem is, even though the county and Mario Cuomo, or Governor Cuomo, sorry, is we actually have to have a contract for DEC to reimburse our 25%, so it's just some logistics we gotta work out. But anyway, the short story is we're moving forward with the repairs. Hopefully, again, as soon as the Norman Skill dries up enough that we can go into the Norman Skill, you know, we should be moving forward with that in probably 6 to 7 weeks or so. And I think the final piece of business is George Meade gave me this. Now, this is probably for most of the people in the South. I don't know if you guys have received this. Accordingly to everybody, it's been mailed to everybody who's on the water districts. It's from important information regarding your water service line. And I don't know how they got the mailing list, but everybody apparently has been mailed it. I'm not saying it's a scam, but it's not coming from the town. It's not coming from the town. It's not ours. It's some kind of an insurance thing. You know, send us money, we'll insure your service. It's to insure, what I read it, is ensure your water pipe from the street to your house. So if it bursts, they'll come in and fix it. You know, for certain, I'm sure if you pay your yearly fee in there. But again, I just want to highlight, I'm not saying it's a scam. I don't know what it is, but it's not coming from the town. It's not ours. So, you know, be warned, be alerted. They're asking for your credit card, easy payments of $9.99 a month or whatever it is, but again, it's not ours. Yep.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
that was actually, I believe, town-wide, because we have a well, and I received that.
Oh, did you? All right, well, then, town-wide, folks, it's not coming from us. We don't know what it is. It has nothing to do with town business that I'm aware of. And I think that wraps up my piece of, any questions, guys? All right?
Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Cal, you don't need to see, or do you? For the record?
No, I've talked to lots of people about it.
All right, minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 14th, 2013 town board meeting?
So moved. To reject.
No? To accept.
To accept? Okay.
I'll second.
Has everything been removed from you?
No, we have to amend them first. So we accept it first and then amend them.
All right.
If there's any additions or deletions to the minutes, then anybody that has that can make a motion to amend at this point.
So these are the amended minutes? You guys have a copy? Do I have a motion to amend the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion to amend?
Well, as we indicated last week, and I think it's in an effort to stick to business of the town. I think these minutes have become a little bit too much of a sounding board for discussions. My position here is the residents have the right to come up and approach the board and talk to the board. That's great. They're on TV, so everybody hears it, but, you know, the official minutes should be strictly business, finished on the business, and that'll be that.
Agreed.
Totally.
You know, we're not restricting anybody from this, to come up and speak to the board, either in public or in private. You're on video, so everybody's gonna know exactly who you are. The videos are on the website within 48 hours, but the official minutes should be just business. So, I guess we have a motion. Lou,
Yeah, we'll amend the minutes.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Well, you've just made 3 different motions. What motion are you at right now?
Motion to amend the minutes.
So that's the
So
only
it's a
motion
motion
you're
to
doing
amend
right
as
now.
reflected in this.
No, I get that part, but
Document.
there's been 3. So that's the one you want at the end of the day, right? To amend?
Well, you
Do
make
you
a
want this
motion.
reworded?
No, you make a motion to amend the minutes, and you need a vote on the motion to adopt.
Oh,
And then you adopt the minutes.
So it was
as-
Lou,
as
and then it
amended.
was Joe? Or
Correct.
whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Esposito?
Yes.
Jazinski?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes. Town board meeting video approval.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
okay, so everyone voted to amend, and now you're gonna adopt the minutes as amended.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes as amended?
So moved.
I'll second.
Esposito?
Yes.
Jazinski?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes. Good.
Yep.
Town board meeting video approval. Do I have a motion that town board approves a video auto tape recording of the July 11th, 2013 town board meeting, June 11th, sorry. Hurrying some along too fast. Upon viewing of the town supervisor or his delegate.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Esposito?
Yes.
Jazinski?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes. New business, appointment of secretary to the planning board. Do I have a motion that the town board accepts with regret the resignation of Sandra Jazinski from the position of secretary to the planning board and zoning board of appeals, and hereby appoints Mary Sue Reed as secretary to the planning board at an hourly rate of $14.96 an hour.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Esposito,
Yes.
Jazinski,
I'll abstain.
Myers,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes. Appointment of a member of the zoning board of appeals. Do I have a motion that the town board accepts with regret the resignation of Mike Hickok and hereby appoints Mary Sue Reed as member of the zoning board of appeals effective immediately to the remainder of Mike Hickok's term expiring 12/31/16. And it is further resolved that the town board hereby appoints Patrick Mooney of 2165 Ennis Road to the position of alternate member of the zoning board of appeals to fill the remainder of Mary Lou's unexpired term, actually to expire on 12/31/14. All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second?
I'll second.
Esposito,
Yes.
Jazinski,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes. Groundskeeper for the 2013 season, this is just we had to change a little bit of the wording here, so, resolve that resolution 13-94 appointing Harry Boley as town hall groundskeeper for the 2013 lawn cutting season is hereby amended to reflect that Mr. Boyle is appointed as a part-time seasonal employee on an as-needed basis at an hourly rate of $25 per hour with a minimum call-in of 4 hours per cut of the town hall and state police properties. For the term to expire at the conclusion of the 2013 growing season, Harry also serviced the lawn machines, sharpened blades, and overall maintained the lawn and equipment for the 2013 season. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Who's second?
Bob?
Esposito,
Yes.
Jazinski,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes. So this next resolution, I want to take a second and talk to the residents here. So we have an opportunity, and I think it's a good opportunity for, not only for the intern, for the town. There's a Denise Teets, a town resident. She's a person with a disability. They've approached us to ask her if there's any way she can help out at town hall. So the first 2 months or plus, she'd be trained by the Office of the People with Development Disabilities. They'll come in, they'll coach her. What we're asking her to do is receive the mail, sort the mail, stamp the mail, deliver the mail to the people's inboxes as the process goes. And for example, if Carol or Isla or Pat or anybody needs copies, we'll leave copies for her. She'll run the copy machine, log it in her logbook. The whole time she'll be coached. She'll be paid by this Office for People with Developmental Disabilities. So I think it's an opportunity to give a person with a disability, an opportunity. I think she's like 34 years old, 31. So for 2 months or so, then she'll be assessed not only by her coach, who comes in every day with her, and after 2 months, we'll assess, not only the board, but the New York State office will assess whether she's got the skill set to go forward. And at that time, if we do go forward with her, we'll pay her minimum wage. It's probably 3 hours a week, or 3 hours a day, 3 or 4 days a week. Pretty minimal. From a cost savings perspective, it's it's going to be an opportunity to pay somebody, even though it's going to be minimum wage. No retirement, no health benefits. She's already covered by all that by the state. So I think it's a good deal for again, for Denise, I think it's the human thing we should do for the, as a board. It's given an opportunity to a person with disability. So I would ask the board to give the intern the opportunity to trial, her skills here. There's plenty of desks in Gino's office. I'll go out and get her a ledger out of my pocket, a couple of pens and a pad and stuff. And so she'll come in like from 1 to 4 every day. And when there's no copier work to be done, or mail sorting or anything, speaking with the counselor and with her mother, we can, maybe Mary Sue can help, but she can go out and weed the gardens, right? So we're not really going with a gardener this year, right? So we can, she spends 2 hours in town hall doing the mail and making copies and distribute them to the teams. And then maybe the last half hour, 40 minutes, you can go out and weed the garden, if it's necessary. If not, then she'll go home. But I think it's a good opportunity. I'm asking the board for, the patients to, give us her shot and see where it goes. I think it's, it's a good story. It's not a good story, but.
Can I say?
Sure.
I have 2 handicapped brothers who, and one of them is just a year younger than I am, but through the years, the state has had programs where these guys make money, not a lot of money, like minimum, not even minimum wage, but they had a sense of dignity, a little schedule to live their lives by, and that gave structure to their, and a sense of self-worth. So I think we met Denise and we talked with the women from the state who were very professional and understanding things. And then we met Denise and her mother, and she's a very respectful girl. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to open up. She's a town resident, and so I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with this. And I think it's a wonderful thing for the town to do.
Yeah, it's almost seasonal because she does go. The parents, I guess, have a house in Florida, so January, February, March time frame. I guess after Christmas they go to Florida. So
Yeah.
if it works out, it works out.
Well, I think we can be flexible, and I mean, the state has given us that opportunity, so I think it's win-win for us.
And
I agree wholeheartedly. This is not the first time she's approached us for something like this, and we didn't have the opportunity. I think it's an excellent idea, and I'm all in favor of it.
Yeah.
And it has my blessings.
All right. In that case, do I have a motion that the supervisor is authorized to enter into agreement with New York State Office of People with Development Disabilities to appoint Denise Teets, a town resident, to an internship training to provide general office work and light groundskeeping support services in and around Town Hall for a period not to exceed 3 months, with her salary paid by New York State. The actual hours, days, and manner of the supervision to be detailed in the agreement. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Esposito,
Yes.
Jazinski,
Yep.
Myers,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes. A little more business here for our NYMER insurance. Do I have a motion that the supervisor is hereby authorized to renew the town's property and casualty insurance policy with New York State Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, NYMER, for a 1-year term commencing 6/1/2013 and a total premium of $12,482.84.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Esposito,
Yes.
Jazinski,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes. Comprehensive plan and public hearing. So, again, I want to give huge accolades to the Comprehensive Plan Committee. As we said during the State of the Town, we took 6 months plus to recruit a very, very diverse committee. We made it a we worked very hard to make sure it was, again, very diverse, that there was people from both sides of the debate, that they can meet together and come to an agreement. And we're going to ask Paul and his team to attend the public hearing to answer any questions, but the feeling is that the comprehensive plan was a great compromise to both sides. It's very flexible, gives land ownership and land use a great deal of flexibility for developers, but you know, it's important that the town has some direction. So with that, read the whole thing.
Far away.
Bear with me, folks, it's a bit lengthy. Do I have a motion? Pursuant to and in accordance with the provisions of section 617.6, initial review of actions and establishing lead agency of the state of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Regulations of the Town Board of the Town of Princetown hereby makes the following determinations and classifications with respect to the proposed comprehensive plan for the Town of Princetown. 1, the Town Board of the Town of Princetown determines that the action is subject to seeker. The Town Board determines that the action, number 2, the Town Board determines the action does not involve a federal agency and does not directly involve other agencies. 3, the Town Board hereby makes a preliminary classification of the action as a type 1 action. Number 4, the Town Board determines that it is and will be lead agency with respect to the adoption of and the approval of the above described comprehensive plan. Number 5, a public hearing with reference to the proposed comprehensive plan shall be held on July 9th, 2013 at 7 p.m. at the Princetown Town Hall, 165 Princetown Plaza, Princetown, New York. The town clerk is hereby directed to publish a notice of said public hearing in the Daily Gazette and to give notice thereof of the Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning and to other municipalities, boards, agents, and agencies entitled to notice thereof. Number 6, a copy of the proposed comprehensive plan and a copy of this resolution shall be sent by the town clerk to the Princetown Planning Board, the Princetown Zoning Board of Appeals, the Building Inspector, Code Enforcement Officer, Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning, New York State Commissioner of Agriculture, the New York State Commissioner of DEC, and New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. Do I have a
I'll
motion?
make the motion.
I'll second it.
Esposito.
Yes.
Jazinski.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes. Carol, I got a thumb drive with it on, is that gonna be easier? It's probably too big to mail.
It's fine. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Norman Skill, Creek Slope Stabilization Project. I talked about it a little bit during our remarks here, so. Do I have a motion? Whereas the plans and specifications for the Norman Skill Creek Slope Stabilization Project have been prepared by John M. McDonald Engineering, PC. Whereas the project is being funded by several agencies, including USDA, NRCS, Emergency Watershed Protection, FEMA, and the town of Princetown. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Princetown, Schenectady County, New York, as follows. Section 1, John McDonald Engineering, PC, on behalf of the town of Princetown, is hereby authorized to call for bids in accordance with municipal bidding procedures for work associated with the Norman Skill Creek Slope Stabilization Project. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll
Who was
second.
that?
Bob. Second by Joe.
Esposito.
Yes.
Jazinski.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Claims. I got a So we're missing claims, we're missing vouchers. You know, at some point, the gamemanship really needs to end, because now it's a matter of paying our bills or not.
What's the problem?
So, my mistake, I was a day, 2 days late on processing them. You know, whether, you know, you all came in or not, whether I got them in the mail or not, you know, is another debate. But, so there's some significant vouchers that haven't been processed yet. So, you know, I can understand all the other games that are going on, all the patent place, but at some point it needs to end, because now it's affecting town business. So, Carol, do we think we can get the rest of the vouchers processed?
Well, now it's gonna have to be another abstract. An abstract should be done at the first town board meeting of the month, the regular town board meeting. This town board had required that the Thursday prior to a meeting, that all of the vouchers be done. We then asked that the Tuesday prior to that, by noontime, if we could have all the bills, so that they could be vouchered, so that you would have them. And that process has not worked well up until this time. If they've come in late, we've been able to get them done on a Tuesday or over a weekend. But, you
So,
know, that's last Tuesday, really in the afternoon, they should have been done, or at least Wednesday. And they were in my box this morning.
well, they're here Thursday. But, so the question really is, you know, if we're gonna be following the resolutions, and it must be all resolutions to the T, because is that what we're saying? We're gonna follow all resolutions to the T? I mean, all?
Well, we haven't up until now, because when you've had the late bills, we have gotten them processed
All
anyway.
right, so I don't wanna embarrass everybody here, and especially the residents who have to listen to this. So my question is, when will the rest of the vouchers be ready for approval?
I don't know what you want me to say, Mike. I mean, I don't know.
Will
What do you
they be
want?
ready for the agenda meeting?
There is no agenda meeting this month.
I think there is, 28th.
Didn't you say June, July, and August, no agenda meetings?
No, just July and August.
They can be certainly done. It shouldn't be done on an agenda. It should be done at the board meeting.
So I'm gonna publicly ask you to do me a favor.
I'm going to publicly ask you.
I'm groveling. Can you please do the vouchers for the agenda meeting on the 28th?
If from now on, you will get bills to our department, absolutely. And then there's kind of a working together. So I will ask you to get bills to my department so we can get them done.
So,
What is this ultimatum stuff over here?
I'm not doing this, just stop it. I'm not doing this with you. I have my job, you have your job. I'm not gonna do this battle with you again.
we're not gonna do it in
So just
public.
stop.
We're not doing it in public either. So fair enough, Carol. I will take the blame on this. I will take the responsibility on this one. I did not have the vouchers to you at 5 o'clock Tuesday. My mistake. I appreciate you doing the favor for me. Thank Ronnie for coming in, you know. As usual, Ronnie's, I have nothing but great stuff to say about Ronnie, so tell Ronnie I appreciate it, and I thank you for the favor. So with that, general funds claims, it'll be claim number 138 through 152, in the total amount of $1,176.52. Do I have a motion that the town board approves claims number 138 through claims 152 in the amount of $1,176.52?
So moved.
I'll second
Thank you, Lou.
Esposito,
it. Yes.
Jazinski,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes. And again, thank you for the favor. Water fund. Claims number 48 through 56, in a total amount of $275.52. Again, that's $15,275.52. Do I have a motion? Well, let me read it off, so make it official here. Do I have a motion the town board approves claims number 48 through claims number 56 in the amount of $15,275.52?
So moved.
I'll second.
Jazinski?
Yes.
Or, I'm sorry, Esposito.
Yes.
Jazinski.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes,
Joyce.
Yes. So who seconded it? I'm sorry. Who made the motion?
Joe.
I made the motion.
All right, and Joe's. All right, sorry about that. All right, can you guys do me a favor and, well, review them and initial them, but I looked at them, they're all right. All right, we talked about this letter, we talked about that. So at this point, I'm gonna close this piece of the meeting at 8:25, and again, I will open the floor up for public comment. Please remember the rules and regulations, so hopefully I don't have to read them over again.
Didn't sign in because it's just comments on what was made. So Michelle Van Wert, 1924 Stockbridge Road. Lou, I was wondering, and I'm not really sure about this, but maybe we can find out when they put the cell tower in, did the town have to give that company a right of way to put that cell tower in? Could they assist in the repair of
I
that
know that they
road?
take care of the back, because I saw them out here doing that. I don't know if they maintain the road or not.
Well, it might be something to look into, just for the sake of knowing that they had to have an access road to get back to there, and they do have to have that access road, so maybe we can enlist their help into getting it repaired, or at least the cost of the stone. Also, what damage has the town endured with the last storms? Is it mostly county roads, or, I know some people, personal property, which obviously will come at the expense of their insurance and their homeowners, but has the town suffered any at their expense of the town, of the storms, or is it mostly county roads?
I'm gonna say, probably 80% of the county roads, but just, the layout of our town, obviously, 80% of our residents live on the county road, so I mean, they're directly affected.
Right, and so the county will take up the slack of that, and I don't think that, we have to worry too much. The county's been wonderful from replacing mailboxes to fixing culverts and putting stone in.
Yep.
So, and also a suggestion on your refinancing the bonds and the information that you want to provide to the people in the water districts might be a good idea, besides the website, is to put them in their bills. Put a little statement in their bills that go out whenever they're sent. I don't know if it's a monthly or quarterly, but, because I'm not in the water district, but that was just another
No, that's a good idea.
suggestion. And I just wanted to say that with regard to the wonderful rating that the town of Princetown has, just so that, for the record, it has to do with past town administrations that have kept the town of Princetown at the A rating. We can continue with that rating if we choose to, but for the most part, the rating that we have endured through our credit has been by the diligent work of past town boards. And that has a lot to do with your history. It doesn't have to do with your present. This town board, the history will be following them for years to come. And lastly, with regard to the amendment of the minutes of the meeting this evening, who created those minutes? How did they get typed? And I thought all town minutes are supposed to be kept and created by the town clerk. And if the town clerk did not create them, I think that that's a serious problem with statutory law with it when it comes to minutes of the meeting, because it doesn't really matter if you approve or disapprove them, they're still minutes of the meeting. That's all.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other comments? All right, I'm gonna close the comments at 8:28. Any councilman concerns, or you guys?
Yeah, I got it. Yes, I do. I'd like to know, last time I looked, we had 5 council members on the board. I'd like to know where our Councilman Edwards has been for the last 4 or 5 or 6 meetings, including agenda meetings. He was elected by the residents of the town, and he's failing to show up. This is supposed to be a democratic society with elected representatives of the republic, and he's supposed to be representing his constituents, and he's not here doing so. I'd like to know why. That there's only 4 of us here on a town board, week after meeting, whether it's an agenda meeting, whether it's coming to interview people for a clerk's job, court clerk's job, or the lady we're just hired for disabilities. Where is he?
I don't know.
Is this gonna be until the end of the year? He's certainly not doing the residents of the town any good by not showing up. That's my comment on it.
I think we all share the same concern.
I do. Thanks for bringing it up.
Thanks, Lou. We'll move left to right, or, yeah, no, right to left. That's embarrassing, it's like, which one's my right now? Go ahead, Joe.
I have only one concern. Well, I've got many, but one that, since my name was mentioned by Paul Hasbrook in privileges of the floor, of my accident that I had in November of 2011, I just want to say that when the town board asked Mike how I was doing, and Mike said he didn't know that that was the truth, that nobody knew. My wife didn't know, the doctors didn't know. So to say that Mike lied to the town board is just not true. And I just want to go on record as saying that that was just not a good thing to say. So I thank Mike for the help that he gave me when I had that fall. And so he was being totally truthful when he made that reply. And that's all.
Thank you, Joe. Mr. Myers, soon to be, family's growing again, I understand.
Yeah, I'm good tonight. If I get through this weekend, I'll be maybe that much better, so. I have no comments right now.
I do have one other thing, Mike. Would you like me to see if Assemblyman Santa Barbara can meet at her agenda meeting? I think that would probably be the best thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if he's available, that'd be great.
Yeah, he said that as soon as the legislative session is over, he'd be more than willing to come. He doesn't know how late they go at night.
Yeah, they should be done June 22nd. So,
Just in time.
And that's June 22nd. and
June
that's our
22nd is
agenda
supposed to be
meeting.
the end of the session, unless they
June-
get extended.
The 25th, I'm sorry, I said the 28th before, our agenda meeting is the 25th.
And they're done the 22nd. I'll see if he can attend, and we can discuss said he'd be more than happy to come and discuss the traffic problems down here and see what we can do.
Don't bring his checkbook.
He tried. He couldn't get any money for the sign, he told me.
Yeah,
He
they
tried.
tried to go too far
He
with
did
that,
try
but
that.
it's a good try, but tell him still bring his checkbook. Okay, Bob, you said you're done?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my daughter's getting married this weekend, so we got a lot on my plate.
Congratulations, Bob.
Yeah. The family grows again. Good deal.
Maybe I can start saving money now.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You wish.
Yeah. All right, so I know not everybody saw it, and the video is gonna be up, and then the presentation will be up, but, you know, I wanna commend this board specifically, you know, for, I understand the past, but the financials at the last 2 years before this board, you know, came into administration, you know, we're on a dangerous course. The first year they missed overspending revenues by a couple $1,000s, the next year they overspent revenues. Bad trend, bad trend. This board managed to turn around because we were focused, and we continue to be focused. It's critical that we continue to focus. We hear of, you know, Medicaid's gonna run out of money at this time, you know, the school systems are gonna keep going up. You know, we can't control what goes on in Schenectady, we can't control what goes on in Albany or Washington, but we can use the wisdom of the residents, the experience to focus here, so we can control our destiny here. I think it's important. It's in policies like when we, and I forgot to mention this at the State of the Town, but, you know, we developed the investment policy. So we have a couple of savings bonds, or, you know, 60,000 in savings, actual savings accounts. So, you know, we put together an investment policy. You know, one of the tasks we'll do over the next few months is to invest that in, obviously, according to our savings. But, it, you know, maybe we can grow it more than 0.001% that it's in now. So, you know, again, I understand, you know, especially from the A rating piece, and that was built a lot when we did the interview with Standard & Poor's and Roosevelt and Cross, that a lot of that was built on process. And I acknowledge the past, you know, the policies and checks and balances are outstanding, so it's definitely rated. But I do want to focus and say, hey, you know what, this board has done a lot to pull us back. You know, we went from a deficit in 2011 where we overspent our revenues by $13,000 to last year's our fund balance of $55,000. I mean, that's like a $68,000 swing. You know, 10% of our budget. So it's a pretty big number. I know 10% doesn't sound like a lot, but, you know, 10% here, 10% there pays for a road here or something. So it gives us a little more flexibility instead of having no flexibility. And then just a final comment, so the town board, and again, everything the town board does is in the interest of the town. You know, we're trying to get away from the bickering, so the inflammatory, you know, it's just not part of the business of the town. We need to focus on the business, run the town, look at the future, you know, continue to plot our course, and move forward. And so we do have a right to amend the minutes. You know, I guess we can take it to the state capitol and have another suit or something, who knows, but you know what, it's just a business. Just focus on the business, we'll move forward and try to put all this other stuff behind, or at least take it off the table in this chamber anyway. So those are my comments for the evening. And with that, I will call this meeting to closure at 8:30. Oh, sorry.
I'll motion.
Do I have a motion to adjourn at 8:36?
I'll second.
Who made the motion?
Joe?
Littlewood, did you second?
Yes.
Esposito,
Yes.
P. Meyer, sorry.
Yes.
Yep.
Mike, you're doing a better job. 8:37.
So don't make fun of that, because I did some calculations on how much we get paid per meeting. You don't want me to say it out loud.